ASMR guidance. Okay, I'll explain why this is an ASMR guidance. I'm going to pause the video for a moment. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Okay, so y'all, this is a soft day. This is a day where you give gratitude and you also lift other people up. Okay, so I got lift other people up. When you lift yourself up, um, that you have to lift other people up if you want to lift yourself up. So don't talk down on nobody today, okay? Respect boundaries today. Today is a day where you let people have their free will. You let people do what they want with their energy. You mind the business of your own energy, and you'll end up having a breakthrough very soon, okay? Um, so some of y'all are learning the value of being prepared, okay? So I decided to do this video after I got a download that somebody on this channel needed me to show up. So that's why I showed up, y'all. I tell y'all that sometimes I get downloads or a gut feeling that somebody on the channel need me to show up. And then when I checked the scriptures, it came out in the scriptures. So somebody or a bunch of people need me on this channel today. So that's why I showed up, y'all. All right. Let's keep it soft and graceful, peaceful today. Okay. Um, I know some of y'all are dealing with people who think they're better than you. That actually came out as a quote, and I got that feeling yesterday. I was talking to somebody, and I was telling them that there's people who think they're better than me, and I was having that conversation also with a family member, and then it came out today as a synchronicity. So for some of y'all, some people aren't talking to y'all, some people aren't coming towards y'all because they think that um, they're above you. You know, they may not respect the work you do. They may undervalue the work you do, or they may be discriminating against you. For some of y'all, they may be undervaluing you because you don't cater to their religion. You know, some people feel like if you're not in my religion, then you're against me. So, you know, just ignore those people. You know, you have free will. You get to choose your spiritual path. So today, you have to try today. I know that it's one of those days where you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to try. And I know that some of y'all are feeling that way because I seen a quote that said, to tree or not to tree. I seen it on TV. So some of y'all are not sure if you want to do some work on your destiny. You don't know if you even want to study or learn about your destiny. You may be in the middle of the crossroads. But today is a day where you're supposed to be taking calculated risk, meaning you have to have a schedule, you have to be on time, you have to know what you're doing, and you have to be prepared. So I recommend taking at least 30 minutes to be fully prepared before you jump into whatever work you're doing. Now, prepared also means you should be optimistic. You know, I try not to show up at my desk without optimism. I got the word be optimist, be hopeful, do it do it regardless or just be curious. You know, the water energy is very abundant because it gets into being curious. Okay? If some of y'all are struggling with you have to know, you have to always have the numbers, you always have to have the end result, then you probably need to get more water energy into your life. Okay? Where you just maybe do it because it's fun, because you enjoy it, and then after that decide whether you want to make a profit off of it and see if it's going to bring you anything. For some of y'all, your hobbies will make you successful. If you're watching this video, some of y'all have what you call hobbies that the world may call hobbies or just fun and games. They're supposed to bring you some sort of success. So you may want to do a list of some of your hobbies and consider the ones that you have been trying to master or you have already mastered, and then decide whether you want to do them. If you have been trying to master something over the last, I would say for some of y'all, it might have been over the last 13 years, maybe that long. You're coming up on close to the 15th year. So this is your breakthrough year for your gifts. So let's say you've been trying to do these gifts since 2012. Like maybe you were going in full throttle, um, and maybe you had connections or something of that nature. Then this would be close to a breakthrough year for you. You would have to take a leap today. So take a leap this weekend. The beautiful thing about taking leaps on the weekend is you don't have to apologize for wanting solitude. A lot of people want solitude on the weekend when they're high vibrational. So take advantage of the fact that you got solitude on the weekend and you can use that time for your gifts. Hi, everybody. Okay. All right. Hold on, y'all. I'll be back. I'll be back, y'all. Give me a second, y'all. I'll be right back. I just want to remind everybody about the rules. I do not answer any questions about me in any of the live videos, so don't ask me any questions. When someone randomly asks me questions in the live video, then it sends up a red flag. It lets me know that they're probably trying to do a reading on me without my permission, or they're trying to tap into my energy. So since I am tired of all the shape shifting and people trying to be like me on YouTube, I will no longer be answering any questions about me. Okay? So if you ask me any specific questions, I don't care what it's about, my daily routine, my relationships, my health, my money, you will not get an answer. As a matter of fact, you'll probably get kicked out of the live video. Boundaries, y'all. You came to get the guidance. You didn't come to be in my business, and I didn't invite you to be in my business. This guidance is for all of us, so you're getting some of my business anyway. So there's no need to ask me any more questions. All right, so let's continue the video. All right. Okay. All right. Let me clean up real quick because I don't want the energy to remember that I mentioned a quote. It said lift people up, okay? It said when you lift people up, you lift yourself up. So if you're attacking me in this video, then your abundance is blocked today. Because that was a quote that I saw right before I got on this video. Right before I started this video, I looked at the TV and I saw a quote that said, when you lift people up, you lift yourself up. So if you're having troubles with respecting me or anyone in this live chat, it's because your abundance is blocked today. And there is an abundance coming through. For some of y'all, you may see the flow of this abundance within 3 weeks, maybe even sooner. For some of y'all, could be 7 days or so. So be nice, y'all. For the sake of your money, for the sake of your bills and your taking being able to take care of your home, be nice so that the angels don't go against you, so they don't block you. Karma, y'all. I know it feels like this may not be a karma day, but guess what? When you're in the middle of the road, you're in judgment. You're kind of the angels and God is waiting to see how you're going to think, what your mind is like. Okay, judgment has a lot to do with mental health. So if your mental health is not good, if you're not positive about the feminine energy, which is society energy, if you're not positive about that, and you're in the presence of older women or spiritual people, and you can't be peaceful, then you're going to stay stuck at the crossroads. Hi, everybody. I don't just give y'all guidance, I teach as well. So spend some time in solitude today, mastering something, figure out something. If you haven't started a new project in your dreams, you may want to start one right away. Now, you know what? I was talking to the angels this morning about, um, it had to do with like how long you're supposed to be taking to manifest something. What they told me is a lot of it, believe it or not, like at least the main foundation of it has to be done within a week. So if you're starting a project, you pretty much should have at least the theme, the concept, the structure, and at least what you're going to use. You need to have that at least within a week, or you need to have at least a rough draft done of it. Even if it's not the master copy, it needs to be a rough draft. Now, with this being said, I know some of y'all say, well, what about the novels? Believe it or not, novels are actually supposed to be, most of them are supposed to be series. They're not really supposed to be a novel because most people don't have time to sit down and read a novel all day, every day. So most people are reading a chapter or two a day, which means any work that you're doing, all you need is a chapter or two done a week. Okay. So even if you're writing a novel, you should still be following the chapter or two done a week. If you're writing a novella that's like a short one, you should probably be doing like at least half a chapter every few days. Okay, if it's a 3,000 word story, you probably should be doing at least 1,000 words a week. It's better if you do the 4 hour work week, which means you'll get a lot of it done if it's compacted and it's shorter. Now, I'm talking to the writers since we're getting into the season of Pisces, which definitely uh, dominates the writing energy, especially when there is Libra and Virgo energy coming in. I'm talking to the people who are non-traditional with this, with that part. So right now we have the Libra energy coming in, and we should not too long have. I think there's Uranus and Virgo kind of creeping in right now, which is why some of y'all are being, um, some of y'all are getting ministry. Some of y'all are like trying to be by yourself. One like your solitude. But as I was saying, if you're into writing right now, okay, the angels were telling me it's important to master what you're doing, be so that every single time you start a new project, you're either ahead of the window of manifestation or you're right on time with it. So consider the fact that you can put a lot of high quality stuff in a short package. People don't need big packages, they need quality. And so if you're a writer, consider keeping your stuff short. And Hemingway talked about that, deleting your darlings, getting rid of your darlings, keep it short. Really just giving what's necessary. I think Hemingway wrote a book where it's like all dialogue because you in that particular book you only need a dialogue. So when you're mastering something today or this weekend, think about what do the receiver actually need? What do the consumer actually need? Okay, because what they need is going to make them feel good, and what they need is going to be fun to them. Okay, I know that when I don't need something, it's not fun to me. So even when you're writing your poems or your narratives or your screenplays right now, or your short stories or your nonfiction, short nonfiction, you have to ask yourself, what do they definitely need? Are you embellished? Are you redundant? I find it unnecessary redundant when it's not started off as redundant. It becomes like the person feels like they wasted their money on it. For example, if you're writing the conceit poem, of course that's going to be a little bit redundant, but at least it's going to be more fresh images, all focused around the same metaphor. So it's still not redundant, even though it may appear redundant. But make sure you're trying to keep it tight and short, especially when the water energy is coming through. You may be tempted to like overdo it, do too much. I know that the feminine cup means compacted. It means weight and quality, but not long. Okay, think about the crab being short. You know, the Virgo is short. I don't think Pisces is that tall. They tend to be short too. Okay, so consider keeping short work, short process. Hi everybody. Okay, calculated risk means going with the Arcadian. Okay, letting divine timing tell you when to do it, obeying the intuition when it says time to do it, time to sit down and do it. Okay, so for example, I got this feeling today that said somebody needed me on this channel, sit down and do this. Now the second voice was like, nah, I don't like how people be acting on YouTube. But see, that's irrelevant. That's just the universe having balance. That's the creator having balance. Okay, the darkness is going to come. Jealousy is a test. Darkness is a test. Okay, that's all it is. How you speak about the wicked is important because it determines whether you're going to continue your mission. So just say I was tested. Okay, how can I pass this test and just move on from the wicked? Um, so for some of y'all writers in here, and I'm also talking to musicians because this is also a musician time, and also painting and graphic arts. So if you're in a painting, graphic arts, sewing, writing, songwriting, postcard writing, screenplay, short fiction, nonfiction, like teaching about life or spiritual stuff, this is a perfect time for that. If you're thinking about picking up a new instrument, starting a new instrument, starting an old hobby from your childhood, this is a perfect time. Pisces get into childhood energy. So you may want to go for a trip down memory lane and journal about all the things you enjoyed as a child. For some of y'all, there's something in there that was supposed to make you famous. There was something in there that was supposed to give you a legacy, like a really big prize. We're talking about possibly like Pulitzer Prize. You may have already tried to master it when you were younger. Now, the younger don't always mean just a little taller. It could mean you're a teenager too, or you're in your 20s. Okay, you're not a queen yet. You're not a queen or a king yet. So you want to look back into that energy. Okay. Some of y'all may have something on your schedule today that you cannot miss, because if you miss it, you're gonna it's gonna be like it was a part of this money that you were supposed to get. So if you have anything scheduled on Eventbrite, if you have anything scheduled online over the next 7 days, and it's like workshops, do not miss the workshops. Okay. For some of y'all, as I said, it could be um, you're learning something that you never tried, but you always been curious about. Like, oh yeah, I can do that. Or maybe you was reading books that somebody else was doing. So for me, August Wilson kept coming to my head over the last week, and I kept being shown like his house and my vision. And then suddenly I remembered that my mother gave me his book with his plays. And then I remembered I was a little kid when she gave me his book, and I enjoyed it. And for some reason, I felt like it was like I stepped into a different dimension when I read the book. We're going to talk about how to tell when you're actually accessing your destiny wealth, because there's a certain sensation you'll get in your body when you're just in the presence of it. So then I remember recently over the last 6 months, I was writing a poem in a workshop, and then some lady said, "Oh, you may be a natural playwright, I think you are." And I was like, "What? I never write plays." And I'm thinking this, okay? And then out of nowhere, I started getting recommendations for a workshop for screenplays. And I'm like, what is going on here? So you see what I'm saying? For some of y'all, I do want to talk about, doesn't mean I have to write the plays. It may mean the technique, the style has to be in my work. So don't always think like, oh, that when you hear something like that's what you have to do. It could be the style of it that is a part of your muse. Okay. So just take that as a resonate. I'm gonna do a whole workshop talking about how the universe can speak in micro bites. Not always it's like a big piece of cake. Sometimes it gives you a piece of something, and it's trying to hint like if you had this one little piece, you would have it all together. Hi everybody. Now I'm kind of just going with flow state for the traditional people because there's some people in here that's like, oh, I just want a traditional. So I just got Muhammad Ali. So I just saw Muhammad Ali on TV. So we know with Muhammad Ali that Muhammad Ali was somebody who he said he has a famous quote where he say the work doesn't begin until he's hurting, until he's in pain. What he means is until there's tension on him. Because until there's tension, it's easy. See what I'm saying? It's easy. And he was actually right. He just put it in his own masculine words. But whenever I sit down and write, when I start to break a sweat, I know that okay, now the work has started. I'm grinding. Okay, I'm getting it. But when I first started, it's like even though I might have wrote some great work, great lines, I don't consider it work if it came too easy. You know, um, when you have to work a little hard in your craft, it builds character. Okay, it builds strength that you transfer over to the next time you sit down and do the work. So if you sat down and just did it and it was just easy the whole time, like no tension at all, it's easy to procrastinate. Then you may say, oh, I can do this any day, and then you don't do it tomorrow. Now I do want to talk about fear as well because fear has been coming up lately, and somebody needed this quote on the channel by Rosa Parks, making up your decision. Okay, why I say making up your decision? Somebody need to make up a decision or find a way to create the visual of the decision. See, when you're doing law of attraction and you're visualizing, you still have to visualize it as a decision being made. You can't say, I just see myself doing it. Okay, maybe you need to see yourself in the moment of you making the decision as well, so that you can be in that specific part of the script as well. The law of attraction people, the other people that teach it, I teach it differently. Um, I teach it with research. I find that just magic is not enough. A magician also does his research into the energy. So when you are when you are doing your little vision work right now, since it's a Libra moon, some of y'all might be doing it in introspection, in private, in solitude. Still visualize yourself in the moment of when you're in the process of making the decision. Okay? I know with the other law of attraction people, they always teach you to manifest yourself doing it, the action taken, or manifest the end result. For me, believe it or not, in everything I manifested, my writing, my writing skills, weight loss journey, this YouTube going viral with all the money that came in on the first year, I never once visualized the end. I never did, y'all. Meaning I never visualized any success or reward. I always visualized me taking responsibility for doing it. I never went beyond that in my vision. And I will explain why I don't go beyond that point in my vision. And some of y'all will understand, like, yeah, okay, now I know why I procrastinate with doing it. But that's in a workshop, y'all. I can't give everything for free. I will do a members video talking about how to protect your decision for doing it. When you live in the end, your decision becomes shaky, okay? Because you're not meant to know the prize. You're not meant to know specifically when the prize is coming, or, you're not supposed to have that feeling that you got the prize already. I know that we say otherwise, but you're not. Because it would be like you looking into your Christmas gifts before Christmas, for some people to do Christmas or Hanukkah. Um, so you can kind of have one gift where you look at, and you can do that in your vision script for your law of attraction. You can have a point where you're like, okay, I'm kind of seeing results, but not like the grand finale. I don't do the grand finale in my scripts. Okay, I try to follow the rules that the creators say, where the grand finale is really none of your business. Hi, everybody. All right, we have 9 people in here. So Rosa Parks has a quote where she says, "If you want to diminish fear, then make a decision." Now I know some of y'all say the fear was still there even though I made the decision. It's because the decision didn't sit in you. If the decision is still levitating in your mind, then the fear can still come through. See, the decision also is releasing something that's in its way. So if the decision doesn't release as well, then it's not going to be strong enough in you for you to take action. Okay? So I hope y'all understand that. That's getting metaphysical. As I said, this information, all of the information in this video is not for fair use, shall not be reworked, redefined. I am chosen to reveal the secrets of the universe, which I've told y'all that. So I'm a celestial being. Any reader or psychic will tell you I'm actually not an earth soul. I'm actually celestial. So if you take from me, it would be no different than you just like up in the galaxy, robbing a planet, robbing the celestial beings. So just be careful of what you think you can do because you see someone in an earth body. And I'm saying this because of the Libra moon. It's tempting to take notes right now and then, study other spiritual leaders and pass it on without consent. It's tempting, but don't do that, okay? I always tell people, if you won't do it to a priest or a minister of a church, then you shouldn't do it to anyone out here, because anyone can be a priest or a minister. They don't have to wear the cloth and they don't have to be in a church building. So just respect my content, y'all. Sad that I have to say this in every video during the Libra moon, but I know how sneaky people are. The moon energy represents secrets, things hidden in the dark, okay? At night. And so I'm fully aware that there are low vibrational priests and psychics hiding on my channel. So just be mindful, because this abundance is not going to come to you. Even if you use what I'm saying. See, here's the thing. I give what my angels tell me to give in these live videos, but I don't give it all. I don't give what all that's needed. So in order to get the abundance like you trying to get, if you're no vibrational witch in here, you can't get it without the full Akashic record. Okay, there's a ceiling you'll hit because you received it from me. Abundance, real abundance, not you're just a little bit more than you have. We're talking about abundance that secure your, that's always going to flow to you. There's no ceiling. In order to do that, you have to have integrity and humbleness. Okay, and shape shifting, there's no humbleness. That's the sin of envy and vanity. Thievery is the sin of envy and vanity. And envy and vanity is connected to fear and anxiety. And fear and anxiety is often connected to insecurity. So if you're going all down the road to do false identity, false image because you think you'll get abundance. Because what I'm saying in this video, you've just told everybody, if you get caught, you're telling everybody that you're insecure. Nobody wants people to know how insecure they are. Never let your insecurity lead you to one of the seven sins, because guess what? Once one sin is open, another door to another sin is opening. You can't open one door to a sin, this is for the traditional people, without another door creeping open, another sin door creeping open. All right. I speak to non-traditional people and traditional people in here. And if you don't like the non-traditional, then just take the meat and spit out the bones, or take the nuts and spit out the shells if you're plant-based. If you're a plant-based person and you're like, oh, I don't do non-traditional, eat the nut and spit out the shell. Or spit out the shell and eat the nut. All right, y'all. Okay. All right. I was talking to somebody on the phone yesterday, and I was talking about north nodes, right? And I was getting into how I learned to accept my north node. I have a wonderful members video I'm going to do, and videos I'm going to put on my new channel talking about that, because there's no such thing for the non-traditional people. There's no such thing as a bad north node. I know some of y'all are like, nah, why even do mine when I can do yours? Because I can see yours, Miss V, on YouTube. um, you're not going to get a long life. You're not going to get those chakras healed. Your north node is for healing, okay? For your struggle chakras. So if you don't do your north node, you're still making the ultimate sacrifice. Years of your life taken off. People in your family going to go hungry. Everyone in your family struggles when you don't do your north node. Okay, they struggle. You can have the money, but it don't mean you got the healing. We know that from celebrities, and you can have the money, but it don't mean you got the respect. So your north node is to make sure that you have social respect. You have a good reputation. You got some healing done. You don't got to struggle with healing. Your ancestors can work on you. They're allowed to work on you. They're allowed to protect you. And your intuition will be raised so that you will get your warnings. See, when you step out of your north node into somebody else's, you're saying you don't want the warnings for your own frequency, and you can never get rid of your own frequency. You can put somebody else's frequency on top of yours, which is a form of shape shifting and destiny taking, but your own frequency will always remain. You can never ever get rid of your frequency. You can work on it, you can clear it up, whatever, but you cannot get rid of your own frequency. So even if you step into someone else's north node, your north node is still feeling the impact of your decisions, and your frequency is still going to manifest things in your life that may be against you because you smothered it and oppressed it. When you take other people's destiny, you oppress your frequency. You're oppressing another life, your own life, your own life force. Okay, so I explain it also metaphysically. I'm not someone that just, going to talk to y'all the importance of being in your north node. And especially if you have kids, okay? You put them in danger when you shapeshift, because their frequency relies on yours, okay? It looks to yours for confirmation. Your kids do. But if you're not in your north node and you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and fake it or whatever, then their frequencies are in the dark. Their frequencies are like, I don't know if I'm right or if I should be this or what. See what I'm saying? So be true, not just for you. Be true for your boo. Be true for your family, for their sake. Hi, everybody. All right. So I was talking to somebody about my north node. Now we're talking to the non-traditional people as well, or people who are both. The north node is something that you may be like, this is really difficult. This is impossible. It's only difficult because you refuse to surrender. It's because you want control. So when you leap into the unknown, you have to surrender control. You have to say, even though I had no way of really, knowing absolutely what would happen before it happened. I didn't even, I couldn't really see the end of this experience or even sense it. I'm still going to look at this like a learning experience. See, your North Node is still like you're going to school. So try not to see it as something bad. See it as educational. Even if you be like, oh, dag, this is some negative stuff. This is hard. The negativity is going to be hard because your soul never experienced it before. Your soul was actually probably avoiding it. If you have a past life soul, if you're not a new soul, then your soul was avoiding it. Okay? But if you are a new soul, then your North Node is for you to experience it for the first time. So it's no different than an old soul experiencing it for the first time. Your North Node is you experiencing something publicly for the first time. You could have been exposed to it in secret, but you was able to protect yourself. You was in the house, or you kept your distance. You had a way around it. You didn't have to deal with it. You didn't have to deal with the challenges. Maybe somebody fought your battles for you with it, or maybe you were just dreaming about it all the time, or it was just a fantasy, but yet you were learning it in a past life. You just never did it. So in this life, the North Node is challenging you to do the things that you've been afraid to do, that you was afraid to do in your past life. Okay, your North Node is always going to challenge you to face your fears. For some of y'all, it could be as simple as putting yourself first. Like, that could be the main thing you're learning in your North Node. Like, taking the risk of losing people through putting yourself first, putting your oxygen mask on first. That's one of the things I'm learning in this life. Not to be such a sacrificial lamb, not to meet everybody's demands and not my own. So I'm learning how to also meet my own demands. Hi, everybody. Now, as I said, if you want all the additional information and guidance, you have to get my book. If you have any projects that you kind of put on hold yesterday, like I did last 2 days, because caregiver, and it was a rest day, y'all. For some of y'all, it was a rest day. Maybe y'all was about to get sick. Some of y'all may have been very close to getting sick. So something could have been purposely delayed. The Creator can delay something if you're under too much attack. But today is not a delay day for some of y'all. It's a nap day. It's a take a nap day, but not a stop day. So, you know, yesterday somebody was saying they was dealing with fear and anxiety, and what I told them is there's something in your day that needs to be different. It could be you need to be in a different location longer than the location that you're in, or there's a part of the day that needs deleted. Okay, sometimes fear is because there's toxicity in your routine, in your script. And the Creator wants that out in order for the fear to be released, the anxiety and fear to be released. So sometimes having a day where you do almost nothing, rather than what you always do, that's better for you, because then whatever that was in the way can't access you. So basically, you can't get in the way of your angels removing it out of your life. Sometimes we do get in the way of our angels when they're trying to do God's work for us, you know. But they're not bitter towards you when you do that, but they will sit you down. All right, so there's a quote. There's two quotes I want to give y'all before I end the video, and give the rest of the non-traditional stuff. Nothing will work unless you do. Okay, that's by Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is a synchronicity. I heard her name whispered earlier. Somebody might need to work on styling their work. I know Maya Angelou liked to do um, alliteration. I think she was into alliteration and sound devices in her work, repetition. So if you're doing any artwork today, you might want to work with the conceit. So Maya Angelou is a synchronicity. She's a synchronicity in the nature of her work, but also in her attitude about being grounded. Okay, where she's not about chaos and clownery. That unbothered energy that she got. Where everybody can be trifling around her, and she's like, cool. Okay. Also, I know Maya Angelou. She liked to work with symbolism and metaphor. With her poem "Still I Rise." If anyone don't know, "Still I Rise" was kind of a metaphor for things that would still rise, like flowers, bread. You know, um, unless you like stomp real bad in the house, the bread's gonna rise in the oven. you know, um, so she was using a lot of symbolism and metaphor. So some of y'all can look at that, add that to y'all artwork, add that to, um, and I know her themes were a lot to do with being a woman and rising above oppression. So some of y'all need to step into your power and stand your ground, stand up for yourself, but stand up for yourself peacefully. Like Martin Luther King did. Peaceful marching. So yeah. All right. So the feminine energy is here, but for the men, if you're looking for support from males, T.S. Eliot was shown. So some of y'all may want to look into the work of T.S. Eliot. I want to explain something. For some of y'all say, well, I don't do any of this stuff. There's other stuff I do. I'm a fashion designer, I'm a hairstylist, or I'm a cook. Understand that creative energy is in all of that. Poetry is in cooking. Okay, I know y'all think it's not. You can actually create a plate of food, and it can be symbolic. So this is the month of poetism. If you don't know poetry, you might want to learn it because it can be put into anything. Okay. I recently saw a man walking down the street, and it blew my mind. And I wanted to take a picture, but I didn't want him to be like, "Why are you taking a picture of me? And I'm a stranger, and you're a stranger." But he had some locks in his hair, right? But he had his locks designed like it was some sort of story. He had like objects in his locks, like literally real objects. He had like this mask of this like skull face in the side of his lock, and then he had some other objects. He was like trying to do artistic expression with his locks, and I was like, wow, I never seen nobody do that before. And the locks were like sitting up in the air, but it looked like a tapestry kind of. And I told my family member, I was like, look at that. I was like, somebody literally did their locks like a tapestry walking down the street. And my family member was like, yeah, they did. And we were just like trying to look at all the interesting things they had in their hair. And I was like, wow, okay. But that just goes to show, and that's getting into Pisces energy. I was in a parking lot, and I ran right into, almost bumped into this woman, and she was it was like looking at artwork. She had like half her hair was purple, but she had like purple eccentric clothes on, but then her makeup was like really eccentric, and then she had like I like color like a colorful tattoo, and I just couldn't help it. I was like, wow, you are really beautiful, unique looking. Wow. I was like, what artistry? I said that to her. She's like, it's my birthday. So it was her birthday. So she, Aquarius Pisces energy. So I was like, I was like, come through. I joked with her, whatever. She started laughing. But the funny thing about it, though, it was right in my face, and I was thinking you know, um, like art is literally survival. Like, I know we think money's enough. It's not, y'all. It's not. At the end of the day, you want to know that you had fun. Like, you want to know that you celebrated yourself. You know, that you had fun with you. You know, so I made a decision about my hair. I noticed my hair has gone so white. So I said, hey, what will happen if I took it all the way white? So I'm going to go get me something that would actually temporarily, turn it all the way white. Mostly almost all white. I might go to the salon this week and have them do a toner so they can get the white as bright as they can get it, and then put some more white in my hair. It's gonna look different because I'm not light skinned, I'm not white, but I look good on white. White looks good on me because I'm a Libra rising. So I think I'm gonna put some silver and more silver and white in my hair, and maybe some trinkets. But y'all, yeah, have fun, y'all. Okay, that's what the Pisces and Aquarius energy is about. Shake things up, shock people, surprise people. Don't be weird. Don't be normal. Okay, um, be a minority, an artistic minority. Copyright, copyright. Okay, or an artistic minority. I know y'all think that simplicity isn't a minority, but it is. Um, so adding more simplicity and then some rarity to it. That whole package of that would be a minority. Because most people are too simple or they're just too rare. They don't find the sweet spot where they allow the scale to be tipped a little bit more so they can shock people. They can get the attention of people. So allow the scale to be a little bit more tipped. Art don't require balance of light and dark. It doesn't require that. Neither do you. You're allowed to look like you're almost 80% dark. You know? Um, but some people are disturbed by lack of balance. Some people are sensitive to it. But underneath that, some people are jealous and envious that the fact that you would be willing to be you're willing to stand out in the crowd when they're not. Okay? One thing I found out is following the rules all the time, following the trends, even in art, there's a ceiling, there's a success ceiling. And you'll notice like it's almost like that success you have to share with thousands of other people. But you don't want that. Okay? You want to come up with your own style. You want to find a rule in what you're doing and just break it. That guy with the locks literally broke the rules because most people, their locks are hanging down, or if they're in the ponytail, they just got something around the ponytail. This guy managed to do a whole lot of different things with his locks. It looked like you was looking at an art piece in a museum. So he kind of like decided he didn't want to look like everybody else. Hi, everybody. All right. So I did have fun, y'all. I did get that. So I'm just doing intuitive messages for the non-traditional people. Wisdom. Okay. So quotes by Maya Angelou, quotes by T.S. Eliot. There was somebody else, Rosa Parks, Muhammad Ali. Okay. Brown people who are brown, or people who have books out. You want to look, or people who are putting out books. You want to turn to them today. If you're into doing art and antiques, if you're a clay maker, something has to be really unique about the clay that you're working with. Okay? Like maybe abstract. Judy Garland, somebody needs to see Judy Garland. Always be a first rate version of yourself instead of a second rate version of somebody else. Confirmation, y'all, did I not just give y'all this download? Let your feelings speak. If you feel something and it speaks in your mind, you're probably right. Because I felt that and I gave that as a download. Then it just showed up on TV. Okay. The way to get downloads, if some of y'all are trying to get downloads during this Libra energy, is peaceful. See, the moment that you're not, the moment that you don't, if you're clinging to your heart too tightly, then believe it or not, you're actually being self-absorbed. So release the tension on your heart chakra, and the messages will come through. Okay. Billie Holiday is a synchronicity. Somebody might be a piano player. That's the third time I saw something. It could be a transposing or juxtaposition. So somebody needs to learn juxtaposition in their art. I was talking about contrast, and then Billie Holiday came out. Billie Holiday was also someone who liked similes and metaphor. She has a song that says, um, my heart is like a faucet, it turns off and on. Okay, they just said that to me. Somebody might need to turn their heart off and just let it be peaceful, or somebody keeps turning their heart off with you. I just heard, my heart is like a faucet, it turns off and on. And I just heard, in my solitude, somebody might need to learn from Billie Holiday. I know Billie Holiday, she kept doing what she was doing, even though she was forced to use the back door to perform. She had to use the back door to get on stage. If you've been feeling like there's injustice, the justice is coming. It could be like, dag, it took a long time for this justice to come, but it did. Okay. If some of y'all was thinking of becoming an activist or a civil rights leader, or you're creating stuff that would like speak for minorities, or your themes of your work is dealing with like sensitive topics, topics that are taboo, or topics that like have to do with oppression or grief or ageism or racism or um, something like that. You may end up getting successful writing something or creating something of that nature. For some of y'all, it could be also getting into what creating art that expresses poverty. So some of y'all may want to do some clay artwork, or create something that shows people what poverty looks like. This is also if you're a photographer, because Pisces can still be really good photographers. So, yeah. Especially if there's a Sagittarius moon, or if you have a Sagittarius rising and it's Pisces season, or if you're a Sagittarius sun. If you have a Sagittarius moon during Pisces season, you may want to get into photography. Or creating your own photo recipe book. It could be a book that's like 30-minute meals or thrifty foods that you can you feel like everybody can afford. Okay. So maybe you might want to come up with a cookbook that's like, all these meals is under $15 meals, and you can cook them in 25 minutes, and then maybe you can, give them out as a discount to everybody that's poor, under low income families. For some of y'all, you may want to get a job working at the local food bank or community service or nonprofit organization or something of that nature. Okay, helping in society, or helping the sick or the old, or working as a cafeteria person, or or coming up with your own soups. I don't know if any of y'all are like to make soups, but soups. Okay, I'm trying to give y'all some idea of Somebody need to do it blind or whatever. So if you have fear and anxiety with doing your work, one way I like to do it is I like to do intuitive artwork where I don't see what I'm doing. Okay? I just go by my emotion. Now I know writers say, I don't know how I can do that. Well, there's a way you can do that as a writer. Okay? And I will put that as a members video, or I will give it to in my workshop. But every artist can create blind. I know we like to say, I need to see what I'm doing. But art doesn't have to make sense, and neither does literary art. Art doesn't have to make sense. It could just be an expression of random emotions. So even when you're composing and making songs, okay. You know what I found out, that the creator don't make no mistakes. When you think you made a mistake in your art, it probably was meant to be that way. If you were in flow state, like, only thing you may need to do is, tighten it up a little bit if you're a writer, where your ego started to take over. That's it. But most of the time, whatever theme, whatever you were talking about, switch whatever switch of thought you had was probably right. Okay, somebody needs a transformation. Somebody's having a transformation right now, a new timeline. Okay. Oh, wow. I just saw the quote, a quote, pastures of plenty. Woo, somebody fated to get rich. Imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it is better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. That just showed up on the TV. Confirmation for my download. Imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Marilyn Monroe. Okay? Marilyn Monroe. We know Marilyn Monroe did a complete makeover. She actually had work done on her jaw. She colored her hair. She changed her makeup. She even went on a different diet to get a smaller waistline. She even changed her wardrobe. She changed her friends. She did a very, very hardcore transformation from Norma Jean. Okay. She also was in a group called the Rat Pack with Sammy Davis Jr. So some of y'all may want to look up Marilyn Monroe's quotes. Um, so yeah. Also, some of y'all may want to think about your health problems. I know she did have health problems. Some of y'all may need to not resort to like drugs and alcohol when you're dealing with your emotions. Um, the thing where Marilyn Monroe went wrong is she stopped dancing. When she was a dancer, she wasn't doing drugs and alcohol. See what I'm saying? See, you have to keep your passions. When the creator lock you into a passion, it's actually to save you emotionally. And when you stop doing it, the emotional fulfillment is unstable. The emotional fulfillment is not as strong. Then the devil can make you sin. Then you can do addiction. See, so whenever you have multiple passions, never stop doing them. Even if you don't do them, even if you don't do them, for a long time every day, just put your little 15 minutes in and go, y'all. You know, I wish somebody would have told me this, because one of my passions was playing the French horn, and I had got really good at it, but, you know, I was being discouraged. I was young. A lot of people was in my head, corrupting my mindset about playing the French horn. At that time, people were saying no one ever, no orchestra has a black French hornist in it. You know, at that time, nobody did. So people were making me think that, it's unlikely that you're going to get hired. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I did have what it takes. So I decided to start playing my French horn again. I remember people looking at me, laughing at me, just taking me as a joke because I was a black woman with a French horn. Back in them days when I was young, African American women were told to be cooks. They were still in our energy, cleaners, dancers, singers. Um, they were told to, play certain other instruments. They were never they were always discouraged, told no, the French horn is a manly instrument. But it's like, I beg to differ. It may look like it's like in the family of the tuba, like a man need to have this or whatever, but it didn't sound like that to me when I played it. But this is why, y'all got to keep people out of your head when you make a decision to, pursue certain things. Like songwriting. I'm a really good songwriter, like good, comes natural. But, people put in my head, oh, they'll steal your songs will be taken. This old paranoia. But, it's like copyright your songs and then you can always sue. And even if they do take my song and I sue, I'm still getting my money and I can still put it out there that I wrote the song. Like Ashanti did. Ashanti got everybody knowing now that she wrote that song that J Lo sang. So, um, bottom line. Or you could always have a contract where it'd be like, everybody got to know I wrote the song, or whatever. Just protect your rights. I know some of y'all have been told aim high, aim big, aim big doesn't mean you got to do big with what you're doing. Aim big means go after the big opportunities. This means if you feel like everyone's impressed by your writing, other students are impressed, teachers are impressed by your writing, then why don't you send your work to the Pulitzer Prize? Submit your work to the Pulitzer Prize. See, that would be going big. Submit your work to the New York Quarterly, the New York Publishing Company. That's a real big company. Submit your work to Sun. I think Sun, Wildwood, and a couple other, I think, here's the thing I learned, okay? If you're not sure where to send your work, let God tell you where to send it. Now, I know that's like corny, but God will tell you through the synchronicities. Okay? So whoever your muses are on the other side, you're supposed to follow in their footsteps. And if creator is showing you their stuff, then just follow in their footsteps. It's just that simple. Don't look at it like, oh, they was real well known and famous. I'm not chosen. You are chosen. You wouldn't be seeing them. You would not be seeing the great people over and over again. You would not be seeing Maya Angelou over and over and over again if her energy is not fated to get you what she got. Okay? Your muses are chosen to get you what they got. That's why their spirits are here. They are here to give you your fortune, the fortune that they was able to get. The creator works in synchronicity, synchronizing type of energy. Hi, everybody. But it's not gonna work if you don't have faith. You know? You can't say, oh, I'm always seeing Rosa Parks. I'm always seeing Rosa Parks. I don't know why. Well, Rosa Parks' energy is there for your breakthrough. She wants you to have the breakthrough that she has. She wants you to have some sort of fame or legacy that she got. Okay? I would go, if I saw Rosa Parks like 15 times, I'd be like researching Rosa Parks like all day. That's why I tell y'all got to get my book, okay? My book kind of gets into that and explains it even more. Okay. All right, so power. For some of y'all, the beer. Just be careful of the grizzly bear energy. Grizzly bears can attack without being threatened. So don't be a grizzly bear that's out of control. Honor your intuition and let it lead you. Okay? To the fish, to the work you have to learn and master. So some of y'all need to do research online to find out what you're supposed to be studying and what you're supposed to be learning. The giraffe is a synchronicity. but it's kind of expiring or something here. I'm using my intuition. Mufasa is a synchronicity. I felt like I seen a picture. They showed me him when I looked at the card. I'm not even dealing no cards. I'm just looking at them and letting the angels speak to me intuitively. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Something's being protected. There's y'all have a guardian. Somebody has a stag, a white stag with them. I heard a soulmate is coming when it comes. That's what they just said for the otter. Okay. The white tiger, the stripe, the black and white tiger is a synchronicity. White tiger. I'm letting them talk to me and tell me what. Tell me what. Why? Yeah, somebody needs to be passionate. Somebody's gonna be passionate like a lone wolf or something. I'm just touching the images and seeing what I get, what I feel. It's a feeling type of day, y'all. And what the angels are whispering. Okay, somebody need to see this quote. We realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced. Okay? For some of y'all, if you don't speak up, if you don't tell people what you want and what you expect, then you're not going to get fed. So basically, closed mouths don't get fed. That's by the quote I said a moment ago about your voice. That's by somebody named Malala. Okay. Some of y'all was supposed to see the wolf. Synchronicity. I said wolf, and then when I looked down, my hand was laying on a card, and when I turned it over, it was the wolf. Okay. I heard you ain't gonna have to worry about money for a while. For some of y'all, it's gonna be a done deal or something. They said when I touched the independent word. Okay, magic is working in your favor today. You just got to make sure you're working with resources that you enjoy. When the tables go against you, okay, when everybody say, well, no money's coming in, you could be working with the wrong resources, or you have the wrong image, or the way you feel is not in alignment with what you're doing. Okay? So, of course, if you're like banging a hammer on a rock, yeah, you're going to be all strong and overpowering. But if you're coaching, and if you're trying to create something in flow state, then you need to be at peace. Apply the appropriate emotion for what you are trying to manifest. The humpback whale for some of y'all, for the non-traditional people. Freedom. Somebody need to travel. Some of y'all still need to get some traveling. Why do I feel like this card is on the fence? Yeah. Somebody might have been somebody really important in their past life. They might have been a president, or they was like running something political, or it was somebody was running their own publishing company in a past life, or they was dealing with some big dogs, like really important people. Yeah. I can feel that with this card. I said horse earlier in this video when I said Sagittarius, and then it came out again. Like my hand, they told me to rest my hand on it. Now I'm laying all the cards down, and I'm channeling and seeing what the Holy Spirit say. Somebody need to, somebody's going to be climbing a mountain alone, or they're halfway up and then they got to do the rest by themselves. Some of y'all going to be doing the rest of the journey by yourself, or the beginning of the journey by yourself. But it's like you need to have a map or be prepared because you're going to be like, oh, I got to get out this situation. Or some of y'all are learning how to take leaps to get ahead. The word inventor is a synchronicity. Raccoon. Yeah. I heard all it takes is one. So all it takes is somebody to be a one-hit wonder or whatever. That's what they said. Decide on what you really want. You have the ingenuity to claim it. What do you want to understand? What do you want people to acknowledge and recognize? See, a manifestation requires you to know what you want from you as well. What do you want to understand? What do you want to celebrate? What must you celebrate? What gives you emotional fulfillment? Because if it gives you emotional fulfillment, then it has to serve you. Then there is a group in the world for you. There's a mass for you. And the emotional fulfillment means there's no guilty conscience attached. If you have a guilty conscience attached to your emotional fulfillment, then it's not, the emotional fulfillment is an illusion. You just think you have emotional fulfillment. And if you don't feel any type of conscience at all, any need to have integrity, then you don't have emotional fulfillment. You're tricking yourself. You're a magician tricking yourself. I'm just saying, y'all. Yeah. All right. So prosperity, my hand. I saw a frog. I saw a vision of a frog yesterday. Then here's the frog again. It was being manifested, y'all. It wasn't ready. Something was being marinated. Something in your metaphysical realm yesterday was marinating. But now is the day to take a leap of some kind in order to get the frog. But this frog energy is going to require you to take really good care of yourself. You have to respect your throat chakra and respect other people's throat chakra. You also should be taking very good care of your crown chakra, the top of your head. Some of y'all may need to maybe just, wash your scalp or redo your hair or wash your back or, yeah, your feet. Take care of your feet, especially your hands. Take care of your hands, your crown, and your throat chakra. Hi, everybody. Yeah, hands can still be feet. I know some of y'all don't know, but your hands could actually be your feet. We call them hands, but if you're touching all kind of stuff with these hands, and if your hands do the things and some of the things your feet do, then your hands are still feet. Okay, if you point your hands when you're doing stuff, if you use the ball, like the ball of your hand, okay, if you're using your hands to hold yourself up, then it's still your feet. And I mean that also symbolically, like using your hands to bring strength and to travel, then you need to be treating your hands like you treat your feet. If you're gonna clean your feet, also scrub your hands real good, like you would scrub your feet. Especially if you're a writer or an educator or you handling these books. Some of y'all need to sanitize your hands, especially if you're working with like food and products and stuff. Sanitation. Otherwise, you'll get spell work on your hands, and then if you're trying to manifest something with your hands, you can't. You won't be able to sanitize your hands and your feet. Frog energy is here. Sanitize. Also get some sleep, because the frog energy, their eyes will get slimy and watery if they're fatigued, if they eat too much fat. So you're better off going hungry today. Some of y'all may want to consider doing a 6-7 hour juice fast a day, or the potato diet. I don't know if some of y'all want to do the potato diet today, where you know butter on the potatoes though, y'all. You can't be buttering them. Starch diet. For some of y'all, that'll get y'all energy up enough for y'all to get this work in. I don't know if any of y'all was going to sing for healing today, but singing because the frog is here, but also Sarabi is here from Lion King. Sarabi and Mufasa. You know, they're singers. You know, Sarabi would be a singer. Yeah, go get your hair done. I don't know if any of y'all got y'all hair done, but take good care of yourself today. Somebody might need a fashion makeover or fashion haul or something of that, especially with the crab out. When I felt to touch the crab, I felt like I wanted to keep saying crab or whatever. The grizzly bear is here, but he got a fish in his mouth. So some of y'all, if you're going to eat today, you might want to switch to the pescatarian or Mediterranean or fish diet today. Okay. Okay. So the card that's kind of on the fence here is the goose. Some of y'all got an egg. Your egg is just sitting there waiting for you to like take it places, or waiting for for you to release it or whatever, or to get out the nest. Or I heard empty nest syndrome yesterday. So some of y'all need to get, maybe you got an egg in the nest and you need to like nurture it or something here. Um, be colorful today and loving. The color red is significant. Amber, orange, yellow, red, green. Obsidian could be still like Scorpio wolf energy still. Somebody need to wear obsidian to protect their energy, or somebody need frankincense also with the frog energy and Libra energy. Um, the Aquarius energy is working in your favor today. So when we're getting into the Aquarius and Pisces, I think they are like in Gemini, purple, blue, deep blue. For some of y'all, a deep blue color or a deep royal color, or somebody's being risen to be royalty, or somebody was born from royalty. That's their energy. Maybe somebody is like a star royalty, or I'm only posting pictures of animals. There's nothing here, y'all. These are not like tarots with stories on them or nothing. See, they're just animals. See, they're just animals. I'm using intuition. If some of y'all are wondering, I'm using intuition. Okay. Your instincts. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. We lost connection. I heard somebody say, I'm not in the mood to fight. So some of y'all ain't in the mood to fight. Y'all not in the mood to fight. Somebody said that. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna head on out. I gave y'all some downloads. Just be careful, okay? Some of y'all dealing with people that can't be trusted. All right. It might look all good to be up under each other and all comfort or whatever and comfortable. Somebody might want to get cozy with you, but you know, don't be quick to be talking about your dreams. Achieving silence. When the wolf energy come out, it also means secret work. You know, some of y'all may have somebody that's like watching your energy, and that's why they coming back. Or so, you know, I'm just saying, y'all. I don't like how the air energy, when I went towards the white eagle image, when I touched the white eagle image, it was unstable, but it was like right near the fox, and I'm like, nah, somebody, you know, doing mental manipulation or frequency manipulation, or um, I'm just saying, y'all, just be careful. of who you letting back into your love life, who you dealing with in your love life, right when you're supposed to have another breakthrough. All right, bye everybody. If y'all like to donate to my new channel and y'all like to donate to my books and my artistic life, especially my writing life and my spiritual life, you could donate to my Cash App at money sign coach V Hunter or at my PayPal as well. I will repost all the information, every information that you need to keep in contact with me will be in the community news by Monday. It all depends on how long the companies take to post my stuff. So I'm waiting for them to do what they're going to do. So by lunchtime is all about what the other sources do. Um, so maybe don't have everything ready for me by tomorrow, and then I can just post everything in the community news. But I will be posting all um, my Cash App and my PayPal again for some of y'all that want to show your gratitude. Um, so I'm going to go for a walk. It's pretty cold outside, but I don't like how the air energy felt in the non-traditional reading. It was actually giving me a headache. It was messing with my eyes and my head as I was going near it. So I'm gonna go for a walk outside, and I think I'm gonna do some affirmations today and some prayers and some scriptures with my white candle burning, just for my mental health, y'all. I don't like how that energy felt. It was kind of like being outside but with a gray fog in your face at the same time. It was like kind of like mental deception coming through. I hope people get out of that energy and just, choose peace and integrity and honesty and stop being fake image. All right, bye everybody. See y'all later.